y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Um, for the people on my channel, I want to apologize for not releasing Freestyle Friday last night, but I released 4 videos plus the Fannie Willis breakdown part 1. This is actually part 2 of the Fannie Willis breakdown. But I will be releasing Freestyle Friday this weekend. Today, I have a few things to do, but I will be home before dark, so I will be doing it tonight or tomorrow morning. Depends, because I might have a word, biblically speaking, and I'll just wait and save that and put all that in Freestyle Friday, Sunday edition like I've done before. But I want to go back to this Fannie Willis situation, man, because it's so hilarious to me, bro. Like, it's amazing. The things, the jewels, the content that I can get out of this one situation with this lady, this DA of Atlanta by the name of Fannie Willis. I said a little bit in the part 1, and I was basically dealing with from a moralist standpoint, from a moral standpoint, from a professional standpoint, and basically a personal standpoint. But from this standpoint, we're gonna do a little thing. We're gonna do things legally. We're gonna hear from a judge, a real popular judge that everybody know. We're gonna talk to. I believe this guy's a former DA or a DA assistant in Georgia. So we're gonna let y'all hear. Basically, I'm not gonna do a lot of commentary in this video. I'm basically just gonna let you guys hear the things that this guy's saying. Of course, I'm gonna chime in. But this case showing so much. It's showing so much, man. And as I watched her testimony, because I watched it from the beginning to the end, um, and of course I agree with some of the things this guy's about to say, because the judge did let her a little loose, but of course we understand that. First of all, he's a 34-year-old judge. She's been in this business for 30 years probably. In this county, he know he gonna have to see her again, and everybody knows how the liberal black woman is when she's upset or when she has an attitude and she holds grudges. So I don't know if he was kind of scared of that. But of course, like I said in my video yesterday, these liberal white judges, which majority of them are, I don't know if this guy is, but I kind of feel like he was, just by him letting her just go on a tirade like that. Or maybe that was something that he wanted to let happen to show everybody, okay, this is what we dealing with. This is what we dealing with. Do we really want somebody like this? Because sometimes that's everybody do stuff different. Everybody do stuff different. Black people, I don't know my flowers, but I know black people. And black people, we're very overly emotional. We have a low emotional IQ. We can't really control our emotions. Like, we don't like somebody, we really can't hide it. Whereas other races may be different, but I know white people. My best friend was white. I've had a lot of dealing with white people. I still have a lot of business dealing with white people. I mess with white people. I love white people. Um, I judge people of character. I don't deal with all people of no race. Some people of some races I don't deal with, and some people of all races I deal with. So I deal with a lot of white people. And one thing about white people is they able to keep their card to their chest. They can hate your guts and you won't know it. Unless you a high spiritual individual and you have high discernment, you will not know it until it's too late, right? And so sometimes they'll let you walk yourself into a hole. So, a lot of people talking about how he let her loose, but he might have wasn't letting her loose. He might have was showcasing to everybody when this woman is being reelected, or like I say, it's all kind of stuff that's being said that if they really dig into this, it could be situations where she can be disbarred for lying, for all kind of stuff that she was doing. Because I'm gonna get off and I don't want to give everything right now, but because I'm gonna slow cook this one, because this part 2, it may be a part 3 and 4, I don't know, but this is definitely part 2. So he might be just letting people see this is who y'all got for a DA. This is who y'all got for a DA. A woman who can clearly, who everybody and their mama can see they lying. And as I said in the first video in part 1 of this, as a man who loved black women, who date black women, who was raised by black women, who is constantly surrounded by black women, whether it's family, friends, or associates, one thing about the black woman that's universal. All women are different, we get that. But one thing about the black woman that is universal, young, old, mama, sister, brother, mama, sister, auntie, daughter, educated, uneducated, hood rat, suburban, wherever they from, whatever they name, whatever their educational background, if they're criminal, whatever, it doesn't matter. One thing that's universal about the black woman is this: Fannie Willis showcased to y'all how the black woman act when she's caught. This is how she act when she's faced with facts. When she's faced with something that comes against anything that she believes, this is how she acts. This is her actions. And I'm gonna be honest with you, and this one of this I must admit, this one of the things that I love black women for. It's a lot of things, but this one of the things that will always keep me messing with black women, because that's a part of black women that I love. That I'm not gonna say aggressiveness, but it's a time and a place for that, and that's the only problem with it when you deal with black women like that. Like, you catch a female that's out the hood, they have no control over that. Whereas when you deal with a female that may be more upper echelon, or a little more educated, they can control it. Now, if they get put under the pressure, like you see with because this woman I believe was a judge. I know she's been in criminal justice for over 20 years. She's extremely educated. Howard U, grad. She's a Howard U grad. She's extremely educated. She's the DA of Atlanta. Like, do I need to say more? And this is how this woman act. And this not gonna even really show everything in this video. But if you go actually watch the whole hour and some uh uh situation when she was on the witness stand, it got to one point where she got so irate that they actually had to call a recess. That's how irate she got. She turned into full black woman Shanae on the witness stand, right? So, this is how they act when they in a position of truth being put in their face, or they being caught in a lie. This is how they act. And so, like I say, man, I'm gonna let this guy talk. This guy, like I say, he gonna introduce himself and say who he is, and I'm gonna let him say what he say, and of course I'm gonna chime in. But like I said, man, the whole situation with this case is her credibility is being tested. Like I say, we're gonna talk about that in the video after this, because there's two videos I'm gonna play. I believe together they're about 20 minutes, but she did too much on that stand, and it's gonna hurt her. And like I said, a lot of people were saying about how the judge let her go off the rails like that, and he should have cooked to put her under control. But as I said before, dealing with white people, that's just not how they react. They don't react like that. A black judge would have been like, oh, but as a white male judge, first of all, he already know what people gonna say. He racist if he would have said certain things. So why not just let her cook herself, which is what she did in several different ways. And I'm about to let y'all hear these professionals tell y'all that. But he could have been letting her do it to say, look, whenever she go for re-election or whatever situation is, however this situation turn out, this somebody who y'all want to be y'all DA? Do y'all want do you think that the way this woman acted on the stand in front of the whole wide world, do you think that she's capable of making the making of do you think she's capable of being a DA and making rules over people's lives and how much time they gonna get and what kind of plea bargain and all that type of situation? Is this woman who cannot control herself on the stand capable of that? Right? And everybody's gonna remember this when it comes voting time, because the powers that be who run all of that, this woman this was career suicide for her. And she don't even know it. This was career suicide, all because she was trying to be slick. And it's not so much that she was trying to be slick, because all of them slick. But the thing about it, when you being slick, you be quiet somewhere. You go in the corner, you just do everything smooth, right? You don't get on the highway. I'm using just using the analogy. You don't get on the highway with 20 bricks in a Hellcat speed racing with your partner. You got 20 bricks in the trunk. Right? You do that when you don't got 20 bricks in the trunk. So here you coming against, as I said in the first video, you already did what you did with Young Thug in the YSL situation. Okay, fine, and damn, that's some black men. And of course you was used as a pawn to get them black men off the street for whatever they was doing or whatever they had going on. Different story. But when you dealing with people like Mayor Giuliani, Donald Trump, Mayor Giuliani was a mayor of New York, bro. As I said in the first video, you not gonna beat anybody being the mayor of one of the biggest, most populous places in the world. Donald Trump has power that surpasses so much things. Until this man got buildings all over the world with his name on it. These people are too, not to mention all the other people on that case, that RICO case that she gave them for some so-called elections, trying to steal an election. She knows she was overcharging the people with a RICO. And RICO is for mobsters and people who commit real crime. She know better than that, but she ran on that. That was her campaign slogan. That we gonna get Trump, and it got her in there. So she did all this here and tried to get this man. Now you playing, you're not playing with YSL, Fanny. You playing with some rich, powerful white men, bro, who got all kind of connections. And that's fine and dandy. If you got them right, do your thing. But not only did you not have them right, you got dirt and skeletons in your closet. It's somebody that you think was your friend, Fanny, who tipped them people off to this whole situation and said, hey, how about y'all looking at this? How about y'all looking to her and her special prosecutor, who she paying the most money on the case, who have the least experience, and he getting all this money, almost $1 million, because she's money laundering through him coming back to her. And then she get on the stand and talk about all this cash. Listen, when you a public figure in her situation where you get state finance, you get all kind of grants, you get fundraisers, every dollar you spend has to be accounted for. I don't care if it's a soda pop at the gas station. And here you understand lying. Everybody and their mama know you lying. Telling people that you just had these large sums of cash and your daddy told you this. Listen, man, that's not gonna fly. And that judge is listening to all that, and he have to rule righteously. Now, we understand they got some of these liberal judges like in New York, what they doing to President Trump, and anytime you against Trump, is all the judges is against Trump for whatever reason. But we understand the reason. It's a spiritual battle, right? But that's another story for another day. They just on the wrong side, and Trump just so happened to be on the good side. I'm not saying Trump is no saint, but Trump is on the good side. And I'm going to leave that at that. You heard me? But what I'm saying is, you coming for these guys and your closet ain't clean, you ain't got your is together, you playing a daily game. And because you played that daily game, you could possibly, you just possibly put your whole career in jeopardy, you and that brother. When y'all could have just y'all had YSL, y'all got all these black men off the street, right? But you wouldn't want to stop there. You want to be the first one to be famous. You want to be the first one to have Donald Trump as a mugshot. You did that. You're going to go down in history for that. But you also going to go down in history for the foolish move that you made by going after some people who really, because as we all know, as we let the record reflect and we look at the research, Donald Trump was the best thing for America, and Donald Trump was the best thing for black Americans, right? And I'm not going to go down and listen to this video. I have several videos on my channel about how Donald Trump was the best thing for blacks with receipts. But so not only is you going against your best interest as a black woman, as a woman who have stock and real estate and all this here, right? You going against some people who really you going against God's plan. That's really what you're doing. And it's backfiring on you. And it might backfire you in the worst way. Because these people are talking about possibly if you get found, and this is the thing, and I agree with a brother I heard say that on Black Conservative Perspective. He said that even if she stepped down, they should still push the issue and really like try to dig in this whole situation and get to the bottom of it. Because guess what? That's what the left do. That's what they doing to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is an innocent man, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and let them talk, and of course I'm gonna chime in. But she showcased, man. You would not want to, this woman have a bad night, a bad relationship, or some type of bad move. You do not want to have to deal with this woman. She's not credible to be a DA. She cannot control herself. She is out of control.
In focus now, Phil Holloway, former assistant district attorney for Cobb County, Georgia. First of all, I follow you on social media, so I know some of your thoughts. But I want you to share with the audience of the Faulkner Focus what you thought about the job that judge did yesterday.
Well, great to be with you, of course, Harris. Always, I think the judge did a good job on balance, though. I do think that he sort of surrendered control to D.A. Willis when she took the stand. I wish he had done a better job of reining her in. I wish he had allowed the defense lawyers to rein her in a little bit better with their questions, because she took the stand and she came in there and she was obviously angry. And she had a lot she wanted to vent about, but the witness stand, Harris, is not the right place to be venting your emotions when you're angry. To be honest with you, and this is just my opinion, I thought, and it still seems like, she was watching the witness's testimony yesterday, which is you're not supposed to do. The
That's
defense
not allowed.
had invoked the rule of sequestration, and it appears that she was mad because she had watched the testimony and the cross-examination of Nathan Wade, and it looks like it upset her. But this whole thing is evolving into perhaps an ethical dumpster fire, and by that I mean if they can prove satisfactorily that she and or Nathan Wade have made material misrepresentations to the court, then she could be in very big trouble. This is potentially disbarment territory if they can make out that case.
Look, I'll get to the wads of cash that were stashed here and there and traded hands and so on and so forth. But an Axios headline: Donald Trump's attorneys have multiple reasons for hope right now. Some of them, possible removal of DA Fani Willis, federal election trial indefinitely postponed. His first trial will be the hush money case, and legal experts say it is the weakest of the four. The U.S. Supreme Court will likely put him back on Colorado's primary ballot. Phil, your thoughts on that?
I'm surprised that kickoff even improved my score that quickly. 50 or 60, 150 plus, it went up.
Phil, your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with that, and let's take it just in the context of this Atlanta case in Fulton County. Let's just say the judge does rule to remove her, then the state will appeal that. On the other hand, if the judge rules that she's not going to be removed, then the defense can appeal that, probably pre-trial, and so this can go to the Georgia Court of Appeals and then the Georgia Supreme Court, and any resolution of this trial is going to be put out well beyond the election in November of this year. So this, at a minimum, is going to delay things. And the prospect of conducting a criminal trial, let's say Donald Trump wins the election, what is the judge going to do with that then? Is he going to try to put a sitting president on trial in Fulton County, Georgia? I think the odds of that are pretty slim. But in any event, this is quite the spectacle. We have a mess on our hands. This is not a good look for Fulton County, for Atlanta, and quite frankly, it's an embarrassment to the legal profession here in Georgia.
You know, I want to get to the money now. And were you surprised, first of all, that they focused on the money? And second of all, just the details that we heard about what she was doing with cash. I mean, at one point she said cash is fungible, to which I put on social media, cash is taxable. Like, what was going on with that line of questioning? Were you surprised that that the attorneys went that way with her?
The defense had to try to do the best that they could to show that she was personally enriched. That's a key part of their claim of conflict of interest. That's the kind of thing that really could go towards getting her removed. So they had to drill down on that. It seemed to a lot of people, myself included, that the explanation being that she reimbursed Nathan Wade in untraceable cash, that seemed to be just a little too convenient. But at the end of the day, the question is going to be for the judge to decide, does he believe their testimony? Does he believe that cash explanation? If he does, regardless of how she came across on the stand, if the judge is satisfied that she reimbursed Nathan Wade in cash, then she could theoretically prevail on this issue. But it's a credibility call for the judge.
All right, we'll move on. Just one last comment. I thought that there was some
So here we have Judge Joe Brown. Y'all know him. Everybody know Judge Joe Brown, right? So with this one, we actually have Judge Joe Brown and this young lady named Dana, and she's actually going to break down the situation And of course, I'ma chime in.
Judge Joe Brown's all-new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor.
Law firms will take this as a retainer.
What? It must be a law firm where they hungry as hell. Now you gonna help me with this parole I'm dealing with?
Judge Joe Brown's all-new barbecue sauce and seasoning. Justice in the form of flavor. With one taste of our premium blends of all-natural ingredients, herbs, and spices, you'll fall in love with meat all over again. Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce collection is made up of 2 zesty flavors, original and spicy. There's only one way to bring order back to barbecuing. Just add Judge Joe Brown's all-natural barbecue sauce and seasoning, and you be the judge.
Okay. Paying cash.
I'm sure IRS had a giggle moment with that. And they listen to these things, by the way.
The IRS?
Yeah, they do. I had a former...
As we know, that Miss Fannie Willis wasn't supposed to testify, but as we gonna hear in this video, which is something that I didn't know, that you're not supposed to be listening to the defense is not supposed to be listening to what's going on in the court. I mean, nobody they gonna break it down. I might be saying it a little wrong, but basically she wasn't even supposed to be listening or watching what was going on in that courtroom, but she was. So at last minute, she decided to come out and speak in her own defense, which wasn't planned. And it really, when I say, when people don't be understanding that when they go against certain things, certain entities, that they gonna crash and burn on themselves, right? So of course she comes out there extremely angry, and when you're angry, you can't think straight, right? And you begin to say and do stuff that's irrational, and most of the time come back to bite you in the butt. And that's what's gonna happen in this situation. So she comes out barging out, and she says all kind of stuff. Now the thing that Judge Joe Brown is about to say, he's been a judge for probably about 40 years. Y'all, everybody know him. He's a household name. But it's not too much, I'm sure he know that she don't know, because she's been in law for about 30 years. So everything he about to say she knew, but by her being angry, that wasn't even on her mind. She was just trying to go out there and just fight back, basically, because the lie, if you watched it, the brother Nathan Wade, he was sweating bullets in there. He drunk so much water, I thought he was going to pee on himself. He was just a nervous wreck in there on that stand, because he understand that once again he was a judge. So they know about they've been in law for years. They know about perjury and all that there, and they know that he could probably committed perjury. We know she committed perjury, but when she come out to understand, she said all kind of stuff, even stuff that she don't realize it can come back to bite on the butt, like the situation that Judge Joe Brown is about to speak about, dealing with cash, and cash that's not taxable. And like, she a drug dealer. She was up there talking like she was a drug dealer. I don't like wine. I like Grey Goose. They ask me for a G. I give them a, like, just completely went to bankhead, straight bankhead. You hear me? Or wherever she from. But I'm gonna let them finish. But this just one of the first things that Judge Joe Brown about to speak on that hurt her, and she don't even know in a whole nother area, and that's the IRS.
Cousin-in-law, who is a chief investigator for IRS, she said she liked listening on these programs and instructed her staff. They were investigators in the criminal section to see what they were talking about, and they'd follow up. Got a lot of prosecutions out of it.
I think I've heard that.
And she was talking about withdrawals more than 10,000 cash and stuff. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, okay. And then I want to see what happens with the result of these specific transportation tickets that the wife of Wade introduced in her proceedings against him. And they list her name, and they list the flight, and they list his name and his flight, same flight. She filed hotel accommodations in the DMV area, as she calls it.
Well,
Interesting coincidence that she did not know he was there at the same time, and he was in the same hotel or seat D when she was in seat C.
but the
Same
thing
on
is,
airplane, but
she kept saying that she has, at one point up to 15,000 in her house in cash, and she would give him cash. She gave him 2,400 for his birthday, and when they went on a cruise, she paid him back in cash. And she's lying because, she's lying because she refused to say she used her debit card. And in this clip that I'm going to show, she was saying
Well, wait a minute. That's what I said. See, what she's testifying to as Attorney General for a district in Atlanta, Georgia, is federal criminality in violation of the Internal Revenue Code. So that's interesting that the DA is on the witness stand under oath testifying to engaging in criminality. And see, if she had thought about it, what you should have done? Taken the Fifth Amendment. See, she didn't think. She's supposed to be.
She couldn't think, Judge. She was too angry. We can't think when we angry. Message.
The chief prosecutor, and he doesn't know the Fifth Amendment. It's like,
because she wanted to get up here and run her mouth to say, I'm right, you're wrong, you're a liar. But I'm going to play this clip.
You never wrote him a check? Ma'am, I don't have checks. Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right? The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact. So my question was, do you have any proof? Is that what you're intimating right here? I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid for any of these monies. The proof is what I just told you. You have no written proof. Is that correct? So I have some, probably some transactions like in Belize. I probably spent $500 on my card in Belize. I spent I can't remember, $900 on each of our tickets to go to Belize. I did the $700. I probably got some minor expenses in Aruba that would be on a card. But for the most part, for those trips, other than, so the 2 cruises, I gave him money for those before we ever left because they were pre-booked. Let me answer. Well, the question was if you had any written proof. And so I've answered you that I've had written proof. We can move to the next question. If you've answered if you had any written proof, then that was my question. I want to make sure that we're clear that for the 2 cruises, Judge, I asked if she gave him written proof.
You're not going to talk over each other. Ms. Merchant, she answered your question, so we can ask the next question. Ms. Willis and Ms. Cross will have plenty of opportunities.
Stop a second. She didn't answer it well, so she thought she was being slick. So it looks like the judge is defending her, but actually she just got trapped in a bad situation because as it is right now, she's paid out a considerable amount of money in cash. It was not reported to IRS. There are potential taxes due to him. And when you start dealing with transactions over a certain amount, somebody wants to be privy to receipts. Where are the receipts? So that's interesting that when the judge cut that off, it looks like he's helping her out. Actually, he left her in a bad place that she put herself. Now, keep going. And one other further thing. He's going to be the decision maker. There's no jury. So
the judge is going to decide if she will be removed from the case.
Yeah, and there's some other things too. She's an officer of the court, and she acts through him, so she has betrayed her obligation to represent him responsibly as an officer of his court. So she's subject to sanctions that he can administer for her violation of his trust in her as an officer of the entity that he represents.
On your role as district attorney, You know that public funds are scrutinized and money is scrutinized and things like that. You understand. I'm sorry, go ahead. You understand you're under a microscope. You have reporting requirements, all of those types of things. You have no record other than your testimony of the money that you've given Mr. Wade.
You've already asked that question. Let's keep going.
He just put it in
took
a mess
office, you
again.
had a tax lien of
Stop. See, ordinarily, if there's a jury, he'd probably let that question go in because the jury may or may not have heard it. They adrift, but he's heard it, so he's the decision maker, the trier of fact. He doesn't need to hear it again. And by listening carefully and reading between the lines, you can tell where it is in his head. Now, he doesn't mean that that's going to be conclusive, but those look like pretty much that's chiseled in stone. You know, these are going to be the facts, and when we get back and we'll look at them, they're going to be up there. So, yeah, okay.
$4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole? I probably paid through, however you pay. Okay.
Stop
but
again.
You were saying
Stop again. See, there's another thing in here. She's opening herself up for further prosecutions because I'm sure the state of Georgia, like every other one, has a reporting requirement when an official spends funds that are going to be reimbursed by the state or that come out of state funding that has been appropriated to somebody's office. They're going to require careful rationalization. In other words, where are your receipts, et cetera, et cetera. So since this is to an extent subject to funds that were reimbursed, it's going to be problematical because to a great extent, the issue is why didn't you disclose to somebody that you had a very personal relationship with this guy when he's supposed to be quote, unquote, independent counsel who has no connection with the district attorney's office. So if he's betting the district attorney, that's very intimate, hot, wet, and juicy connection with the entity. So that's where this is going. That's the relevance.
that you had amounts of cash. You still had that lien in 2022 when you were dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay the tax lien off? You gonna tell me how to pay my bills?
This is not relevant as it relates to microfinance.
Submission, are you trying to establish that she was insolvent in some way?
I definitely was trying to establish that she did not have these mass amounts of cash that she's talking about, yes.
In other words, stop it. He's going to show that she is perjuring herself because she has made statements that closely proximate to this time she was destitute and broke. So if she's claiming to be destitute and broke due to a 2016 or 18 campaign, I forget which, how does she have all this cash money right in hand if she's supposed to be flat broke busted? See, she's being slick, and when the judge is listening to it, see, one witness has testified over here, another one's over here, this has come out there, and it's like a canvas, but you have different painters come in, and they're all painting a picture that the trier of fact, who is not a jury here, but the judge can look at and say, I can make out what's up there. Now, how does this fit in with what you may have, I don't know if you're going to, with the testimony about her from her about being flat, broke, busted? Or at least they were questioning her about statements she had made that had been published about being flat, broke, busted. In other words, now she's saying she had $15,000 in cash in the apartment, and she's saying she had this amount of cash, but at other stages, I forget where we are right now on the examination, cross-examination of the witness, one of the parties to this action here. But it has come out that she is supposed to be destitute and busted. So that seems like interesting testimony for somebody who's in that financial condition. Go ahead.
All right.
Sorry.
Re-ask the question.
You had a tax lien in 2022.
About a minute left on this.
You say I did. And you did not use this cash that you had to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct? No. I went shopping too when I didn't pay it all. And you talked about
Stop. That was totally inappropriate and idiotic. How do you get to be a DA and be so damn stupid?
Exactly. That's what they trying to
You
show.
don't do that.
What do we call that? Too smart for your own good, or
No, that's just being an ass.
And I'm gonna show you something. And he about to address this, but I'm gonna address it before he address it. That's what happened when you put these type of people in these type of situations, right? And also, that's why the judge, like I said, that's probably why he didn't do nothing, because he was showing people, this is who y'all picked to be a DA. This who y'all pick. Y'all pick this irrational, lying, can't control her emotion woman to be the DA of a whole city such as Atlanta, which is a big city, 500,000 people. Not to mention a big time tourist attraction. And this is who you have at the head of your your head of DA. Right? And so, and Judge O'Brien about to touch on what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it before him. You know what's wrong with this woman? This woman, as you can see, she's a beautiful woman. Of course, she's up in age, she had children. So, and you know how we in black community, how we eat bad. So she got money, so she eats what she wants. So she a little out of shape, but she's a beautiful woman. She's extremely successful. She's extremely educated, and with those three things, if you just have one of those three things, but them three things, educated, successful, and beautiful, listen, her head is filled with arrogance. And you know what they say? The Bible say arrogance come before the fall. Pride come before the fall. She is puffed up with pride. She is extremely arrogant. And it's going to all come to... She will be humbled in this situation. She will be humbled. She's already embarrassed herself, right? But a lot of people speaking on it, but then most people saying, especially people, black women, oh, she held her ground. No, held your ground. She lied on the stand. She showed the narrative of black women, no matter how educated and successful you is, it still strikes right. All she did was showcase a narrative of the black woman. That everybody say that the black woman, that's all she did. Was make y'all look bad, but because y'all, a lot of black women but I'm not even going to get in that in this situation, because I'm not one to bash my black women. I will rectify the truth and speak on certain things that need to be spoke on, but I love my black women. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have a black daughter, a black son with a black woman. That's my life. I love black women. So of course they have issues as well as black men have issues. So that's not like I always put it out there, the disclaimer. This channel not about that. They have plenty of channels out there with that, bash the black woman. I'm not going to do that. But sometimes women like this have to be set down, chastised, not physically but verbally. And sometimes it don't happen because so many people that she deal with, she looks at as beneath her. Right, as you go hear in my first video, she said that, oh, I don't need a man for nothing. A man is not a plan, he is a companion, and all this and all that. This woman feel like she is God. This woman feel like her poo-poo don't stink. Because once again, if the average black woman is educated, you can't tell them nothing. But to be educated, extremely successful, powerful, and you beautiful, she's like the total. She like, if her body was in shape, which she can get her body in shape if she wants, she got the money. But if that's the only thing missing is her having a coat by the frame. But she in her 50s, so, she not really tripping on that. But the thing about this woman, man, she is so puffed up with pride, she think that this is her courtroom. And it's all going to come back to bite her in the behind.
Okay. She was an asshole today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And see, you don't do that. And this comes from the arrogance that I have seen. And I won't be sexist when I say it. It's an observation. A lot of women professionals have this kind of attitude. It's like if it was in a guy, it would be obnoxiously cocky. In other words,
That's fair.
Back off a little bit. What the hell do you think you're doing? This is the guy that all your shit hangs on. This is the trier of fact. That's like being obnoxious and arrogant with a jury. You just don't do this. And see, that's how you could get this kind of female lawyer to lose case after case. You would evoke her ego, and you would, during the trial, exhibit some humility, and she thinks she's got you, so she would keep attacking you because I'm going to beat this guy. I'm going to beat Joe Brown. He thinks he's all this and that. I'm going to show him. And while she's trying to show everybody how she can beat you, you're kicking her ass, and she doesn't realize it because you're focused on the case. She's focused on you. And see, this kind of attitude is endemic to what happens. You're not there for a purpose, which is to represent the state of Georgia. You're there because you're showing out about yourself. Now, go on.
I would not characterize it as a lot. I probably have spoken to them 2 or 3 times.
My question is relevant as to you.
I think it's already come up. The finances are discussed in the book. I'll overrule that.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson, you can continue your answer.
What came up with Mr. Wade as it relates to hearsay statements that he was asked about in relation to what Ms. Willis may or may not have said in relation to an author. So it's not relevant to the testimony that's claimed at this time.
I think Ms. Merchant has said that inside the book, she also makes a statement as to her own.
By the way, what you had right there, you see the judge overruled the objection. They were trying to save her. But the bottom line is it was relevant. This judge impressed me. He knows what he's doing.
Well, I mean it right there, but as you see on the screen, that was the whole, that square right there. They got the whole case. They broke that down, the whole case. I just found this one clip, and I wanted to speak on this one clip. But they actually did the whole entire time she was sitting on the bench. I believe it was like a little over an hour, and they broke the whole thing down. I encourage you to go to this young lady's channel right here. Let's see what her channel is. The Real Dana, and she have, I believe, all of it, but I know for sure right here in the live, as you can see right here, she have the father, which was yesterday, and Thursday her full testimony. So if y'all want to go check that out and see how they broke it down by a real judge, a household name judge, y'all can go check that out, man. But she did this to herself. She could have been doing what she was doing, minding her business, funneling, money laundering her money with this secret lover, which was somebody else's husband. She could have been doing all that, getting away with it. But she decided to come for these powerful men who is innocent. Not only did she come for some powerful men, but she came for some powerful innocent men. And it just come back to bite her in the butt. But hopefully, and I'm not saying that for me because I don't care. Because when you do stuff like that, you act like that, you fit a narrative. You think you some kind of god. You come against somebody who for the greater good. I don't care what happened to you. I mean, not your way of being, but for your job. So I don't care if she be disbarred, but she for sure is gonna be disqualified from this case. But she could possibly be disbarred from her foolishness, her lies, her corruption, and her not being able to control emotions. I thank y'all for listening. This is part 2 of breaking down the Fannie Willis case, and it may be a part 3. I don't know. Y'all have a good Saturday, and God bless.